Good evening. Welcome to this session of the Open Security Summit. Today, I'm going to talk about security on autonomous systems. I was under the impression that I can present this under one session, and apparently this is going to take a couple of sessions. My name is Abbas Haidar. I am a cybersecurity enthusiast. I am the SOC manager for Ant Group International. I have a good technical background, I'd say. So I come from I had a IT career before I switched to cybersecurity. I like threat modeling. I like graph visualization, and I've beaten diabetes. And just a random quote, which I found said by someone, I didn't know their name, but he said, if you can create a medium of it for innovation, human ingenuity would be amazing, would do amazing things with it. So basically, I just want to start with kind of defining. I know that most of you know what an autonomous system is, but autonomous systems, they connect the world of bits to the world of atoms. There are systems which operate using artificial intelligence and operational software. They do not require any human intervention. So like self-driven car, some type of drones. They have the intelligence of being capable of sensing, understanding, making decision in the real world. Well, this is generally. So not in all cases, but I mean, generally they can do this. Like, we're talking about a self-driven car, so it will take decision, it will take measurement between, let's if it is on a motorway, between the car behind it, car in front of it, and it will check if there is another car coming on the left, if you want to go left. But I mean, there are other things that are not being checked. So we're going to go through this in this presentation. So software, as we know, it is the most, it is our it is a malleable medium. With careful design, we can create abstractions with layer upon layers of capabilities, which allow the creation of any kind of autonomous system. So I'm saying careful designs here because, a design can be very complex and it can cause problems, to be honest. So I just want to go, before we start digging into the autonomous system security, I just want to talk a little bit about the cyber threats and about some facts. So ransomware attacks costed the world about 20 billion in 2021, $billion. And this is, I know, like I went on a presentation with someone, and they were telling me like they presented different numbers, but this is something I found on some trust website. I just want to say hacking and theft of critical information from institution, government, and businesses is becoming something like we are seeing every single day. It results in theft of information that can compromise like national security and stability, and especially the one like which are state sponsored. Ransomware generally it holds like the system's hostage. And as we see, like over the years, and especially since 2019, the bill has, I think this is 5 times what it was in 2021. And cyber warfare is increasing, as we said, as we have seen in the Russian attack on the UK and on the Ukrainian websites and government sites and stuff like that, and other ones which happened on some Israeli sites a couple of days ago, and this is an ongoing one. And cyber terrorism, which is becoming really powerful these days. And one of the cyber terrorism which can be done is on autonomous systems. I can give you a quick example before we dig. Imagine, like, as you know, like most of the cars now, the new cars, they are some, in a way or another, like, connected to the internet. So imagine on the M25, which is a motorway in the UK, if we have anyone international. So you have a car it is peak hour, let's say 5:30 in the afternoon. You have 10 cars going you have multiple cars. I don't know how many cars on the motorway, all going 70 miles per hour. And somehow you gave those cars, all the cars in 1 mile square area, you give them a one command to say, open the airbag. What would happen? What would happen in this case? This is a very, very likely to happen scenario in the future when you have, autonomous, like self-driven cars. And what are the consequences? And can you trace someone who's, who is sitting behind his desk in some, I don't know, terrorist state? You can't spot them. It's a cyber attack. It's gonna cost us loss of lives, and we can't control. We can't get to that terrorist. Usually we use physical stuff. This one is not physical. This is something I got from Sonic Wall. So as you see, that the cyber threats trend. This is the cyber attack trends in 2022, and we can see the increase on all kind of attacks, apart from the one for malware attacks, and this one because they sell some protection on their systems. But basically, if you look at the ransomware attack, which is here, it's 623 million, and there is 105% increase. This is from on the Sonic Wall, solution. So this is just from their systems, not everywhere. But you can see how things have changed. Encrypted threats, 167% increase. So what I want to get to is Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the SolarWinds example. And SolarWinds attack, and basically about a supply chain attack, and then I'll start going into digging into the which gonna lead me on the security on autonomous system. I want to present a couple of scenarios of potential cyber threats and how can we defend them as well. So on the SolarWinds example, we all know that it has been this attack has been a supply chain. So SolarWinds were attacked, and then through one of their, I think it was an MSP or something like that, they were selling some network monitoring system, and the attacker inserted the malicious code in the DLL component. Then the software start and compromise the libraries, the DLL libraries loads, and they inserted the malicious code. And then what happened? They had a backdoor, so that allowed them to create a backdoor. And what I want to get to, I don't want to go through the attack itself, but I want to say, a security patch here caused a big problem, and this was supplied from SolarWinds to their supplier, which supplied it to multiple companies, and it created a big thing. And I will get to. As soon as I go to the next slide, I will show you what I mean. So if we go to the Suez, incident we had back in March 23rd, 2021. So where I think everyone remembers this one, where that vessel, Evergreen vessel, it blocked the canal, and this was not a cyber attack, but it disrupted the supply chain. It costed the world economy billions. I think they said about $54 billion. This is not a cyber attack, but the question here would be, is this possible using a cyber attack? So as I said, like the root cause here was not a cyber attack, or at least that's what we know. And it was not a marine autonomous system attack. But the consequences, as I said here, it can help us on imagine what would be the potential of cyber-related issues. As I said, the cost here between 50 and 100 billions. 80% of the world trade is carried by sea, so the scale was massive. So, and I come back to my question again: is this possibly using a cyber attack? In my opinion, yes. So why do we need the cybersecurity on autonomous system? So what are we protecting? So the question we need to ask is, what are we protecting? What is our fundamental aim? And what do we mean by security? So when I say what are we protecting, it prompts like visions of encryption and so on. The word security brings to you the image of the guard protecting a system against malicious attacks. So, and the most important bit, what is our fundamental aim? So the fundamental aim basically to get secure systems. And to get secure systems, security means safety and reliability, because I can build a security castle. I can build a very good security solution with no doors. Like, you can, build a castle with no doors and no one can get in, and it's safe, but it's not reliable. You can't use it. So basically security, to achieve like good security, you need to have a safe and reliable system. In the context of DAS, here DAS is something I just create myself, like, it's an acronym for Drone Autonomous System. And what's the difference between an autonomous system and man-controlled system? So what are we adding when we have an autonomous system? So what are we adding to a drone autonomous system, or a mass or a marine autonomous system like the vessel, if it is controlled remotely? So we are adding remote monitoring, we are adding onboard decision making, we are remote control. And it means this, as the example of the drone, it means the continual ability to maintain the safety of the drone. And I'll tell you what I mean by the safety of the drone in a second, to achieve the desirable behavior, whether it is to land the drone safely or avoid intrusion. So let's say, drones operates on a radio frequency. And, as you know, radio frequency, it's a, I'm not going to say it's a public attack. It has a public attack service. So anyone with some skills probably, if you can take a drone down within a range. And the proof here, if you remember a couple of years ago, the airport attack in Gatwick, we had drones everywhere, and the police, I think they ended up to be police ones, but I mean that we didn't have any controls over these systems, and they could have been very dangerous to the safety of the Gatwick airport. So basically, what we are adding, when you add some security, so we'll be able to remotely monitor these drones. As an example, if a drone is on 3,000 feet, so we can, and some attacker give it a command to go down. So at least we can probably, if we have some security there, we can say, no, it's not safe to land. Okay, so what are the cyber threats here? So to take control of the drone, and taking control of the drone can be something. It can cause like severe damage, because this drone can go and hit someone. Can probably, if we're talking military drones, it's a different story as well. Yeah, so to cause the drone to undertake a dangerous or catastrophic action. Catastrophic action can be like taking the drone down and breaking the drone. Drones are expensive. So basically, to pose a threat of either of these, or extract a ransom, or even deny the operator ability to control the drone. So basically, if someone is controlling a drone, probably we can deny them from taking control of it. And yeah, so probably using a DDoS or whatever. So it is not even complicated to do it. It is in general, like if we're not talking here about a drone, it is easy to write a piece of code to disable like GPS or a sensor or power management module, to do some spoofing, possibly DDoS, radar interference. So so in almost undetectable manner. So if you remember, like the SolarWinds attack, it started in March and it ended in September. So no one could detect that. And so an attack on a drone or on a car autonomous system can be triggered by time. So these guys then can go and inject their code there, like a dormant code, and it can be triggered on a specific time. It can be used maliciously by leading it to cause chaos, a disaster, like the military drones. So I mean, this is just an example, like just a kind of graph which I found using Uncle Google, and how a cyber attack can happen on autonomous systems. So basically, let's put it as a three-way system. So you have the person who's controlling the drone, and it's going through a medium which can be like like radio frequency, which is a public space broadcast, and you have the drone itself. So if you can break into the using the radio frequency, the drone can be under attack easily. So how does the malware get in? So I spoke about the supplier chain attack before earlier. So any point of entry, well, if we're not talking about drones, it can be anything, because it can be the controller of the drone, the remote controller. It can be anything. So it can start with an email, with a browser, or target employees, not just within the organization, within the supply chain. It can be once planted, and a dormant malware can do the job, and the rest is history. The attack surface can be the remote control system, as I just explained earlier. It can be the navigation system, can be the power management system. An attacker needs to be lucky only one time to achieve something really nasty. So I think here we need something we need a solution for this. I mean, I've been talking to a friend of mine about a potential thing that our minimal viable product are working on it now. I'm not allowed to talk about in details, but we need here to be able to get some security software or whatever on the autonomous system, and that system as well should work offline. It should be able to detect, like events going all together on an OS, and if this event 1 plus event B plus event C plus event 1, 2, 2, they are all together. So that means there is a cyber attack, and I need to shut down something like a port, or I need to land safely. Yeah. So how dangerous is a cyber attack on an autonomous system? So I explained this earlier. So how dangerous is it on a car, on drones, on CCTV some CCTV cameras? Can it be a terrorist threat? And I just explained this earlier. Yeah, it can be. It can be. And I mean, this one is going through autonomous systems. So automation everywhere. Automation security, automation development, automation testing, automating everything. So before you used to go to the bank, you used to withdraw money cash, and now you go to the ATM. And probably later on there is a way you can, I'm pretty sure now there are other ways, like how you can get cash. But I mean, it affects everything, and it can be real dangerous, and it can be a terrorist threat to any nation in the world. So how do we defend the autonomous system against these kind of attacks? So basically, there is no single answer. It can be an EDR solution, so such something to detect and response on the fly. It can be like the human factor bit here. Yeah, sorry, let me come back to the EDR. So on the EDR, it can detect, expect an attack. And EDRs, they usually know what is a normal activity and what is abnormal. It can be a human factor here. So if we are talking a drone, don't leave it as an open system. Just make sure there's a username and password. If you want to log into it, make sure that the password has strong hash. You're using a strong hash. Make sure that we have some security awareness, probably MFA somehow. It can be like security awareness is something very important if we want to talk about the door system and the locks we have on doors, and do not use this as an example a 4 digits security code or something like that, and other ones like firewall and encryption and AV antivirus. So firewall is classic, by default block all, allow specific stuff. if you are an insider, so you are trusted. But if you want to think about a phishing attack, that's what a phishing attack is, and that's how it does it. You click on that link and it returns back some data to you. So firewall probably is not enough, and probably what open ports without for management. As you see now, even like now, a lot of systems, and we've seen this when we're doing pen testing, you can see that there is a management port for some systems, which is publicly exposed. Instead of like doing some whitelisting on these stuff, it can be, we need a solution, an example like for DDoS, probably a firewall can do that. Probably a good design for resilience and reliability. And probably instead of going through a radio frequency, public radio frequency, probably we can have some proxy in the middle. Probably we can have redundancy on these systems, like on the connections and stuff like that. Let's say if someone is taking control of the system. I know redundancy, this is a big word because it might cost a lot of money. We can, every drone system or every car system, it has an OS. So possibly make sure everything like OS we deploy that it's hardened, whether it is using stick compliance or whatever. We need to make sure we have good software development and testing. And here the story is very, very long, so I'm not gonna even go and get in and start explaining this. But I mean, automated system tool to ensure every branch, from every branch to every if statement, are covered. Method of development, testing, QA, and certification. My summary here. So cyber threats on AS, it's a clear and present danger. We need a security defense in depth here in terms like firewalls, security awareness, redundancy, software development standard. Some threats are very complicated. That's what we need to know, like supply chain stuff. So we need to get prepared on different level. One of the facts that I've seen through research that autonomous system vendors, they take cyber attacks as an overhead. So anything to do with cybersecurity, they usually they usually offload it to contractors, to third parties. They don't do it themselves. Basically, we don't have enough data so far, and it's just like self-driven car. We start to see them, right? But we don't have enough data. We don't have enough information there, and that's something we definitely need. And we need to know there is no silver bullet here. There is no one answer. It's going to be multiple things. That's it from me today. Any questions? Okay.
Yeah. I'll even put my camera on. Look, I'll be that good to you.
Yeah, Greg, want to see you? Come on.
Yeah. You kind of say that there's no data about us. I mean, because obviously a lot of the this kind of autonomous systems, they're reasonably newish, but have we not actually already got a lot of data around Internet of Things? Aren't this a comparable of vulnerabilities and from that type of thing? Is there not a lot of parallels that we can take from that?
We definitely can. We can use this 100%. But what I'm talking about, like, there are things. So let's say that the self-driven car. So I've seen the Tesla, I've seen the Audi one, and a couple of them. We don't have if you don't have incident, we don't have enough incidents, to be honest, to rely on. But yeah, you are right. So we have some data, but I believe we don't have enough.
Yeah, because it was kind of, I was just sort of thinking is the whole area of, this is a whole area, I think, of security where there's just not enough attention. The autonomous systems, the things that they could be really devastating, but just the amount of havoc that you could actually, just like, nowadays people quite often, be their heating systems You know,
That's what I was thinking about. Heating systems.
you know, all
yes.
that sort of stuff. You know, there's huge prospect for harm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things I've seen is someone was developing an idea where they can have kind of control, offline control. So they install a software, let's say on a drone, and that software will be able to detect like attacks offline. But that's not a complete. It was never completed, the idea.
Yeah.
And what I've seen as well, just to add to this, let's say Mercedes, I mean, these big like car manufacturers, they do not have their own like in-house security, autonomous system security teams. They offload them somewhere else because it's too much money for them. It's cheaper for them to give them someone else to work on them. And this is a big thing. And let's say on the self-driven cars, we might have examples, we might have some data there, but imagine like the heating system. Imagine there is a president who lives in that compound, or say, which is, you have all the windows locked automatically, and suddenly you hacked into their heating system and put the heat into maximum. That's a big thing that we don't have much data on this.
So going to ask another sort of question on something that you pick up there about, you say like some of these companies, they're outsourcing some of that security management. Why do you think that's such an issue?
Can you say it again? Sorry.
You said that something like some of these companies, they're outsourcing effectively their security side of stuff to handle that area. Why is it such an issue?
Meaning they are not controlling that, so they are not, they are giving that component to that part to some third party, and they're not checking on it. They just give it in the we've done security. And I've spoke to someone who works for a big car manufacturer, and he told me, yes, they don't really care. It's a contract for them. Yes, it's a tick box. We've done it, so we have someone doing it.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, if that's the way it is. Yeah.
I mean, I think the next one I was thinking about is to this session is very, very generic. Probably on the next Open Security Summit, I was thinking about picking up on a specific autonomous system like a drone or something like that, and we do a threat model. And we can probably get from there what are the threats, what are the attacking surface, and we can get to that.
And you should do a threat model to the Starlink satellites.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's definitely taking another level up. The Starlink satellites.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of interesting stuff going on with those. There's low orbit ones from SpaceX. I
mean, definitely. It's just a very exciting thing which I've been working on with a friend for a long time in terms of security on autonomous system on drones in specific, and other things that I cannot name over this call. But I mean, it is really like we still have a lot of gaps there. They're not doing enough. It's like work on dust. So we didn't do enough. I believe we didn't do enough there. We can do much more work.
I agree, man.
Yeah.
Cool. So you guys enjoy the summit. It's been some great sessions this time around, isn't it?
Yeah. Alona, do you want to stop the recording?
Thanks for doing this, Abbas.
No worries.